Pages 1 through 18. I was born on a Tuesday at University Hospital, Columbus, Ohio, USA, a country caught between black and white. I was born not long from the time or far from the place where my great-great-grandparents worked the deep, rich land unfree, dawn till dusk, unpaid, drank cool water from scooped-out gourds, looked up and followed the sky's mirrored constellation to freedom. I am born as the South explodes. Too many people, too many years, enslaved and emancipated, but not free. The people who look at me keep fighting and marching and getting killed so that today, February 12, 1963, and every day from this moment on, brown children like me can grow up free, can grow up learning and voting and walking and riding wherever we want. I am born in Ohio, but the stories of South Carolina already run like rivers through my veins. Second daughter, second day on earth. My birth certificate says female, Negro. Mother, Mary Ann Irby, 22, Negro. Father, Jack Austin Woodson, 25, Negro. In Birmingham, Alabama, Martin Luther King Jr. is planning a march on Washington, where John F. Kennedy is president. In Harlem, Malcolm X is standing on a soapbox talking about a revolution. Outside the window of University Hospital, snow is slowly falling. So much already covers the vast Ohio ground. In Montgomery, only 7 years have passed since Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a city bus. I am born a brown-skinned, black-haired, and wide-eyed. I am born Negro here and colored there. And somewhere else, the freedom singers have linked arms, their protests rising into song. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. And somewhere else, James Baldwin is writing about injustice, each novel, each essay changing the world. I do not yet know who I'll be, what I'll say, how I'll say it. Not even 3 years have passed since a brown girl named Ruby Bridges walked into an all-white school. Armed guards surrounded her while hundreds of white people spat and called her names. She was 6 years old. I do not know if I'll be strong like Ruby. I do not know what the world would look like when I'm finally able to walk, speak, write. Another Buckeye, the nurse says to my mother. Already I am being named for this place. Ohio, the Buckeye State. My fingers curl into fists automatically. This is the way my mother said of every baby's hand. I do not know if these hands will become Malcolm's, raised and fisted, or Martin's, opening and asking, or James's curled around a pen. I do not know if these hands will be Rosa's or Ruby's, gently gloved and fiercely folded, calmly in a lap, on a desk, around a book, ready to change the world. A girl named Jack. Good enough name for me, my father said, the day I was born. Don't see why she can't have it too. But the women said no. My mother first, then each aunt, pulling my pink blanket back, patting the crop of thick curls, tugging at my new toes, touching my cheeks. We won't have a girl named Jack, my mother said. And my father's sisters whispered a boy named Jack was bad enough, but only so my mother could hear. Name a girl Jack, my father said, and she can't help but grow up strong. Raise her right, my father said, and she'll make that name her own. Name a girl Jack, and people will look at her twice, my father said. For no good reason but to ask if her parents were crazy, my mother said. And back and forth it went until I was Jackie, and my father left the hospital mad. My mother said to my aunts, hand me that pen. Wrote Jacqueline, where it asked for a name. Jacqueline, just in case someone thought to drop the IE. Jacqueline, just in case I grew up and wanted something a little bit longer and further away from Jack. The Woodsons of Ohio. My father's family can trace their history back to Thomas Woodson of Chillicothe, said to be the first son of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. Some say this isn't so, but the Woodsons of Ohio know with the Woodsons coming before them left behind, in Bibles, in stories, in history coming down through time. So, ask any Woodson why you can't go down the Woodson line without finding doctors and lawyers and teachers, athletes and scholars and people in government. They'll say we had a head start. They'll say Thomas Woodson expected the best of us. They'll lean back, lace their fingers across their chests, smile a smile that's older than time. Say, well, it all started back before Thomas Jefferson Woodson of Chillicothe. And they'll begin to tell our long, long story. The Ghosts of Nelsonville House. The Woodsons are one of the few black families in this town. Their house is big and white and sits on a hill. Looking up to see them through the high windows, inside a kitchen filled with light of a watery Nelsonville sun. In the parlor, a fireplace burns warmth into the long Ohio winter. Keep looking and it's spring again, the lights gold now and dancing across the pine floors. Once there were so many children here running through this house, up and down the stairs, hiding under the beds and in trunks, sneaking into the kitchen for tiny pieces of icebox cake, cold fried chicken, thick slices of their mother's honey ham. Once my father was a baby here, and then he was a boy. But that was a long time ago. In the photos, my grandfather is taller than everybody, and my grandmother just an inch smaller. On the walls, their children run through the fields, play in pools, dance in teen-filled rooms, all of them. Grown up and gone now. But wait. Look closely. There's Aunt Alicia, the baby girl, curls spiraling over her shoulders, her hands cupped around a bouquet of flowers, only 4 years old in that picture and already a reader. Besides Alicia, another picture, my father, Jack, the oldest boy, 8 years old and mad about something. Or is it someone we cannot see? In another picture, my Uncle Woody, baby boy, laughing and pointing, the Nelsonville house behind him, and maybe his brother at the end of his pointed finger. My Aunt Anne in her nurse's uniform. My Aunt Ada in her university sweater. Buckeye to the bone. The children of hope and grace. Look closely, there I am in the furrow of Jack's brow, in the slyness of Alicia's smile, in the bend of Grace's hand. There I am, beginning. It's scary sometimes. My great-great-grandfather on my father's side was born free in Ohio, 1832. Built his home and farmed his land, then dug for coal when the farming wasn't enough. Fought hard in the war, his name in stone now on the Civil War Memorial. William J. Woodson, United States Colored Troops, Union, Company B, 5th Regiment. A long time dead, but still living among the soldiers on the monument in Washington, D.C. His son was sent to Nelsonville, lived with an aunt. William Woodson, the only brown boy in an all-white school. You'll face this in your life someday, my mother will tell us over and over again. A moment when you walk into a room and no one there is like you. It'll be scary sometimes, but think of William Woodson and you'll be all right. Football dreams. No one was faster than my father on the football field. No one could keep him from crossing the line, then touching down again. Coaches were watching the way he moved, his easy stride, his long arms reaching up, snatching the ball from its soft pocket of air. My father dreamed football dreams and woke to a scholarship at Ohio State University. Grown now, living in the big city life in Columbus, just 60 miles from Nelsonville. And from there, Interstate 70 could get you on your way west to Chicago. Interstate 77 could take you south. But my father said no colored Buckeye in his right mind would ever want to go there. From Columbus, my father said you could go just about anywhere. Other people's misery, or other people's memory. You were born in the morning, Grandma Georgina said. I remember the sound of the birds, mean old blue jays squawking. They like to fight, you know. Don't mess with the blue jays. I hear they can kill a cat if they get mad enough. And then the phone was ringing. Through all the static and squawking, I heard your mama telling me you'd come, another girl. I stood there thinking, so close to the first one. Just like your mama and Caroline, not even a year between them, and so close you could hardly tell where one ended and the other started. And that's how I know you came in the morning. That's how I remember. You came in the late afternoon, my mother said, 2 days after I turned 22. Your father was at work, took a rush hour bus, trying to get to you. But by the time he arrived, you were already here. He missed the moment, my mother said. But what else is new? You're the only one that was born near night, my father says. When I saw you, I said she's the unlucky one, coming out looking just like her daddy. He laughs right off the bat. I told your mama we're going to call this one after me. My time of birth wasn't listed on the certificate and then got lost again amid other people's bad memory.